advocate for inclusion of thematic activities and aimed at responsible active fatherhood into national plans by the local and national authorities. Forum's geography is impressive today, as we will have speakers and participants from 8 countries, namely from Ukraine, Moldova, Armenia, Belarus, Georgia, Azerbaijan, Serbia, and Turkey. Before we start, I would like to make one more announcement. At the end of second session, we would like to take a photo of all forum's participants. So I would ask you to switch on your cameras then. Thank you, and I would like to start our forum from welcoming remarks, and with a big pleasure pass the floor to Jaime Nadal, United Nations Population Fund representative to Ukraine. Please, Mr. Jaime.
Well, thank you very much, and good afternoon to everyone. I'm extremely happy, really, to see such a high turnout of participants in this exchange. I mean, we are more than 80 persons joining right now, the event, and I really want to thank you, every one of you, for being here with us today. We are very pleased to welcome you at our International Cross-County Exchange Forum on Men Engagement, devoted to the International Day of Families, bringing together local and national representatives from 10 countries from the Icaro region and elsewhere. Today, different countries and organizations will showcase successful ways to maximize men's involvement in childcare and to promote harmonious family relationships and gender equality. As we strive to progress in building demographic resilience and to progress in the socioeconomic recovery, we must acknowledge the central role that gender equality plays for achieving both goals. And this is indeed what brings together the European Union, UN Women, and UNFPA to work together on gender-responsive family policies, men engagement, and the promotion of more equal distribution of unpaid domestic and care work. The elimination of gender stereotypes is fundamental for achieving full equality between men and women. And this is clearly addressed both by the Sustainable Development Goals, called number 5, as well as by the European Charter for Equality of Women and Men in Local Life, which provide, both of them, the overarching frameworks for work in this area. But let's look now at Ukraine a little bit. Currently, only 5% of male workers in Ukraine take parental leave annually, which means that the biggest load of caretaking and household chores fall on women. This happens in spite of the well-known fact that engaged fatherhood has a number of positive outcomes for children and for the overall well-being of families, which will be, of course, further displayed by the speakers during our forum. Here in Ukraine, we have started to develop a network of DAT clubs, what we call Tato hubs. 6 in total have so far been already operating under the support from the European Union and in collaboration with local authorities. Being equipped with innovative manuals and communication tools, Tato hubs are platforms for engaging and educating fathers on gender equality, child psychology, nonviolent communication, as well as for acquiring skills for performing household chores. Since we started, we have observed a really high demand for such types of community services for men, which inspired us to scale up the model and to contribute further to the building of a more equal society for everyone in Ukraine. Over the past year, we have witnessed many steps taken by the government to promote further this agenda. Ukraine accession to the BRH partnership, the adoption of the new law, paternity leave, the decree of the President of Ukraine on urgent actions on GBV prevention, and the development of comprehensive gender equality programs in several cities among them. These are excellent developments that need to be further expanded and sustained. At UNFPA, we are completely committed to continue working with our partners, with the European Union, with UN Women, to advance the cause of gender equality, including the sustainability of men engagement initiatives like this one. Thank you very much. Welcome again to the event. Dziękuję Juba, and looking forward to the discussion this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now I give the floor to Tatiana Shulha, Gender Sector Manager of the Delegation of European Union to Ukraine. Please, Tatiana.
Hello, dear participants. I'm glad to welcome you on behalf of the European Union delegation to Ukraine. And after this substantial presentation by Mr. Nadal, I will not take much of your time analyzing the situation. Just would like to mention that it's an extremely interesting discussion, which is not always the case when we have our usual political talks and discussions related to normatives, laws and bylaws. Today we will share human stories of best practices in different countries, and I'm sure that this will be interesting both for policymakers present here and practitioners, those people who actually move forward gender equality and men engagement in different countries. I wish you all the best and really productive and successful communication today, and I hope that links established today will last beyond this day and this event. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And as I understand that we don't have Erika Klopilova here, we can move forward and back to her speech later. So thank you very much for opening our forum with such powerful messages. And now we continue with the first our session, experience for men engagement initiatives in the Eastern Partnership countries, best practices, lesson learned, advocacy and cooperation with local authorities. Before I start, I remind that we will have a Q&A session in the end of this part. So you can write your questions to speakers in our chat. Please don't forget to indicate name of speaker you are addressing. We'd like to start from Olga Usaulenko, who is the Regional Program Manager of the program EU4Gender Equality, with a presentation EU4Gender Equality Program Regional Office, key findings of the regional baseline study on gender norms and stereotypes. Please, Olga.
Thank you very much, Alexander. Good afternoon, dear colleagues and participants of the event. I am pleased to have this opportunity to present the highlights and the key findings of the baseline study on stereotypes. I will be sharing my screen now. Okay, is my screen visible, Alexander?
Yeah, good.
Okay, thank you. So the baseline study on gender stereotypes was conducted in 2020 with the objective to generate data and evidence on gender stereotypes and beliefs in the 6 countries of the Eastern Partnership. The study hasn't yet been widely presented and the report is being at the final stages of finalization. So I'm really happy for this opportunity to present the key findings, and I hope they will be relevant for the further discussions that we will have today. Very briefly about the methodology. It involves quantitative and qualitative elements and also builds on the work done by a number of previous surveys, including but not limited to the International Men and Gender Equality Survey images that was carried out between 2015 and 2019 in 5 of the 6 Eastern Partnership countries. The major tool of the quantitative study is the structured questionnaire with the sample size and consistent across all 6 countries, which allows for comparisons of the prevalence and extent of gender stereotypes and norms within and between the countries, and can serve as a baseline, with progress being assessed by future surveys using the existing questionnaire and data collection. The qualitative component was conducted using focus group discussions and in-depth interviews with specific social groups to understand how they perceive selected issues featured in the survey, and to explore specific stereotypes or any experience of double discrimination. And the first area where the gender stereotypes are persistent is the labor market. Across the region, having a job is perceived to be really important for women and men. However, when it comes to the question if career advancement is more important for men than women, we have seen that about 40% of the women and men respondents in Belarus, Georgia, Moldova, and Ukraine stated that career advancement is more important for men than women, with this share rising to about 53% of men in Armenia and 68% of women in Azerbaijan. And we also have a quote here from a mother who was returning to the labor market in Belarus, who said the change in job is very difficult when you have 2 children. When you come for an interview, you're already branded. A mother with 2 children will definitely take sick leave, in their opinion. Their mind is made up. Even if you come and say that you will not take sick leave, no one will believe you, because everyone already knows everything about mother in advance. Moving forward, the next finding of the baseline study also suggests that stereotypes around women's role in the home and family continue to exist. Most respondents believe that it is better for preschool children if their mother doesn't work. And it is even more striking that women themselves believe in this. And you will see, you see the slide and the percentages. Most women and men in Armenia, Belarus, and Ukraine believe that it is better, indeed better, for their preschool child if their mother doesn't work. Most women and men in all 6 countries believe that women are primarily responsible for unpaid domestic work. When it comes to care work responsibilities, care work responsibilities, responses were less homogeneous. You can see that most respondents in Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Belarus believe that women bear primary responsibility for caregiving, while in Moldova and Ukraine, views are split more evenly between women having primary responsibilities over care work and this task being shared equally between women and men. In Georgia, 56% of female and 66% of male respondents believe that care responsibilities are shared equally between women and men. When it comes to the paternity leave, we have very few men responded that themselves taking parental leave, and this figure comes from starts from 6% in Ukraine to 18% in Moldova, which is very little. We would like to see higher numbers, of course. Most respondents in Armenia, Georgia, and Moldova believe that a good wife question her husband's decisions or opinions, even if she disagrees with him. This view was shared by 40% of respondents in Belarus and about 42% in Ukraine. However, over 2 in 3 respondents in each country feel that a good husband should consult his wife on important issues and take her opinion into account. And we can see also a quote from a focus group discussion of mother who was returning to labor market after maternity leave. She said that we make decisions together. My husband in general is always supportive. There is no such thing as I will let you buy this, I won't let you buy that. There is money set aside for spending on children, but if I want to spend something on myself, he never says no. In terms of responses to gender-based violence-related question, we can see that the majority of male respondents in Armenia, Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Moldova feel that conflicts between a husband and wife, even if involving violence, should remain private. A majority of female respondents in Armenia, Azerbaijan share this view, as do 48% of female respondents in Georgia, 46% of female respondents in Moldova. When it comes to Belarus and Ukraine, we can see that This is less likely, respondents are less likely to agree with this, with only 29% of Belarusian and 34% of Ukrainian respondents who hold this view. On a positive note, a majority of respondents in each country believe that violence towards male or female family members is unacceptable. In Belarus, Georgia, and Ukraine, over 60% of respondents feel that violence against either a male or female family member should always be punished by law. However, we of course prefer to see higher numbers of those who believe in unacceptability of all forms of violence. And my last slide is about women's choices when it comes to reproductive rights. As the study shows, opinions on abortion tended to be controversial in all 6 countries, but with a tendency towards women having more freedom of choice rather than less. Overall, the study contains a number of recommendations which aim to build on existing initiatives in the region to increase gender equality. They differ slightly from country to country, and I hope we can explore some of the ways to address the stereotypes during the meetings, during today's discussions and exchanges. And I will stop here because I have exhausted my time. Thank you very much for the attention, and I will be happy to take questions.
I forgot to turn on my mic. Thank you very much. And just to remind that you can write your questions in our chat, and in the end of the session, we will try to read them all. So let's continue. And I would like to give the floor to the director of the Child Rights Information and Documentation Center from Moldova, Vasil Koroi. With a presentation of Moldova establishing Fathers Club in Moldova, successes and challenges. Please.
Sorry, I also forgot to turn on my mic. Hello, everyone. I'm delighted to share my experience, our experience here in Moldova in establishing Fathers Clubs. For some of you, the information might not be new, as I already presented it in a partner meeting recently, but I'm really happy to share it with colleagues from Ukraine. So just a moment, I'll share my screen. I will start with an overview of what we achieved so far, meaning we established 9 Fathers Clubs in 2 target districts of Moldova. 14 groups of current and future fathers are attending these Fathers Clubs. So far we had around 38 sessions, both offline and offline, and around 150 current and future fathers participated to them. Of course, we had this constraint of the pandemic and of working online, but this was as well an opportunity for us, as we could, as fathers from the diaspora, could join our sessions. So how we went about it, we started with establishing cooperation with the local and national governments. Actually, we already had a memorandum of understanding signed with the Ministry of Education, Culture and Research. And we informed them about this initiative, that they were surely supportive. And then we established, as I said, this collaboration with the local governments, and established 2 working groups with the representative of the district departments of education, psychopedagogical assistance services, and the institutions we intended to run the fathers club based on the local needs identified. After some meetings, after the first meetings, we had a round table to analyze the first program results and challenges. And here I have a quote from a representative from the Ministry of Education that said that this experience can be used to develop a subject school, optional subject school, and a course for non-formal education. As I previously said, we built this initiative on local needs. For that reason, we had focus group discussions with current and future fathers at the local level. We wanted to know from them how, when, where they see the Fathers Club, and the intention was to know what they need, both at the level of content and process, how they see the process actually. And all the process, the entire process was built on these findings and what current and future fathers told us afterwards during the first sessions. And another thing we thought in advance is the sustainability and the possibility to scale up these initiatives. And for this reason, we developed a frame of regulation for the Fathers Clubs. And this document was consulted with the members of the working group, was consulted with the fathers as well, current and future fathers, and was consulted with the representatives of the Ministry of Education, because the aim is at the end of the project to be able to have it institutionalized and maybe to open such fathers clubs in other districts as well. This regulation it's clearly not set in stone. It will be it's a living document. It will be reviewed, revised throughout the program implementation. To establish and run the fathers clubs, we needed to train local trainers, local facilitators. We chose to do so. Actually for sustainability reasons as well. As after we leave these districts, after the project ends, these facilitators remains there and are able to run further these fathers clubs. And we had actually more, this is a bit old presentation, more training sessions with them. And these training sessions would build on the needs identified during the focus groups discussions, and that is suggestion from the UNFPA Papa School Manual. And I have a local trainer's quote here that say that I learned to allow time for myself, to be more attentive to my needs and my own mistakes, and accept the change. And I think I transmit this attitude to the Fathers Club participants. About the locations, we chose we chose based on what current and future fathers said during the focus group discussions. We chose the following locations: the high schools, youth centers, youth-friendly health centers, and recreation center for one district, and from another district, the psychopedagogical assistance service. As I said, the fathers chose them as they said they would attend in these locations. They would rather in others. And the recruitment was done by the local facilitators on a voluntary basis, of course, and fathers were contacted directly. but we also, the local facilitators also posted online announcements. We as CRIC, as our organization, also made its announcements, and actually after the first meetings, other fathers joined, being invited by the participants, the first meeting participants. A quote from a father: I am interested to know other fathers' experiences, and such a club will help fathers to be more respectful towards their children, be attentive to their needs. At communication level, CRIC covered the program activities on CRIC's website and Facebook page, and I have here a number of the awareness raising that we made through our social media pages and from our website. And if you have questions, I will be more than happy to answer them. I thank you for inviting me and for attending this presentation.
Thank you very much. And please welcome our next speaker, co-founder of MenCare Georgia, Miriam Jugelli, with the presentation Georgia, MenCare Georgia, promoting positive fatherhood by gender transformative communication. Please, Miriam.
Are you getting my voice?
Yeah.
Great. Good afternoon. It is a great honor to be part of this very interesting forum and to hear insights, not to present insights, but also get insights from other neighboring countries. I will briefly go. I know that I have 8 minutes, so let me just put on my stopwatch so that I don't run out of time and take somebody else's slot. So basically, MenCare Georgia is a campaign that we started in 2014 based on a study that was published in Georgia. It was called Men and Gender Relations. It was the first ever study that asked men what do they think about gender equality, their role in the family, in the society, and etc. And we found very, I would say, sad and depressing results. For example, 82% of Georgian men said that it's not their duty to take care of their children on a daily basis, which meant not to read the books, not to take them to schools and kindergartens, not to bathe, not to do just basic things that don't really need any advanced capabilities. And we thought a lot about it. So we realized that nobody would like to read the huge study. So we came up with an idea to launch a Facebook campaign that we originally called Daddy Read Me a Book, which is, in our opinion, the simplest thing any father can do for their children. And we started this campaign by asking public figures to read books in bookshops, to record videos of themselves, to write letters about their fathers or about their children, etc. and etc. We also took a very important step in looking at the situation in Georgia from the holistic point of view. So we planned several different activities that together combined the massive campaign to change people's opinions about fathers' role in the society. So we also established Father's Day 6 years ago, which did not exist in Georgia, and we thought, like, if it exists in other countries, why should not we have it here as well? We also published multiple publications, did up to 50 training seminars, events, etc. We involved policymakers and opinion leaders in breaking stereotypes and showing them on camera doing various things for their children, and did a lot of innovative projects. And just to visually show it to you how it looked like, for example, the person at the bottom right corner is the mayor of Tbilisi, and he's holding a banner where it says, "Daddy, play a ball with me." He's also a famous football player, 2-time Champions League winner. So we were very much excited that he joined the campaign. The top right image shows you the first ever Father's Day celebrated in Georgia, and the left photo shows you it's just a photo from a series that we did through with this project in various parts of Georgia. But despite all of the activities that we did, this is what Georgian society thinks about household division. As you can see, it is mostly, unfortunately, female dominated, and both women and men are satisfied with the distribution of roles in this way, where doing the dishes or washing or taking care of their children or cooking and etc. is the women's responsibility. This study was published in 2020, and as you can see, we still have a lot to do here in this country. So starting from 2020, with the support of you, we did a lot of things. Actually, we expanded positive fatherhood promotion to new regions, which are in the western side of the country. We also launched the first ever fathers group in Georgia. There are several mothers groups on Facebook which are very active, and we always thought, why don't we do a group for men, for fathers? And we were actually very excited that a lot of people joined, and they started asking questions which we did not expect them to ask, which that this fact gave us a feeling that these men only needed a space where they could discuss very critical things about their families. We did a lot of awareness raising campaigns. We did a couple of seminars. We published a book that I presented on a previous forum. I don't know if you remember, a children's book, which is called Luna and the Planet of Fireflies, which was very much acclaimed by the society, and it was done in partnership with the hugest publishing house in the country. And the greatest thing and the most recent thing is that we are opening Father School tomorrow, actually. So after this forum, I have to run to the reproductive health clinic where we are setting up the room for the school. It will be the first ever Father School in the country. So this is what our Fathers group looks like. We approximately now have 7,000 men joined, and they are on a daily basis actively discussing how they are taking care of their children, of their partners, how do they have division in their households, how they're getting tips since the weather is getting better, what kind of activities they can do with their families, etc., etc. Throughout this project, we also did a video story during. So this is the book at the bottom right that you can see that we published, which was a very nice fairy tale. On the left side, you can see we did a photo project, and we tried to show very Georgian families where men are actively involved in taking care of their children and playing and drawing with them, and it was very viral campaign. We also did a video which we published, I think, a month ago, where we wanted to give very basic, simple tips to men how to take care of their families during pandemic, during COVID-19 pandemics, and they were tips like play more with your children, ask more questions, take them out. If your spouse or your partner is pregnant, please be very close to her, and etc. and etc. But despite that, we still face a lot of challenges, despite all the success. And one of the biggest challenges, of course, the pandemic has stuck a lot of people in their houses, and children are the most affected, unfortunately. So we need more to be done, educating to fathers to take more care of their families. We also see that stereotypes still need a lot of addressing to be broken. And we have a couple of successes. The key or major factor of our success is that the campaign is based on social context of the country. It is based on positive communication. So we go to fathers and tell them that, okay, if you are at this point not doing very little for your family, you can be there, or if you will do this, this, and this, you will be a better person, your family will feel better, you will be happier, there will be more harmony in your family and therefore in the country. But despite that, here are some of the results comparing the study from 2013 and 2019. You can see that a little bit of numbers have been changed, but there more has to be done. For example, only 5% of men attended childbirth in 2013 and only 7% now. So we need to continue educating for that. Great number of people actually think that both parents should be entitled to a parental leave, and we are kind of starting active communication about it. And you can see that the number of men thinking that the final say in the family belongs to men has decreased by 20%, but we still need to do more about it. So just to go to the end, what we are planning in the nearest future. So as I said, we are opening Father School tomorrow. We are very much excited about it. It will be a pilot project. We'll start from the capital of the city, and then we will continue to other cities, to Kutaisi. We are planning to continue educating for parental leave. I personally was one of the first people in this country to take parental leave, and I'm always advocating for it to other fathers. And based on the situation that has brought to us by COVID-19, we still think that responsibilities should be addressed with fathers, and we should tell them more give them more examples how to take care of their families. And I will briefly show you a little video that we did for the father school. Unfortunately, it is in Georgian, but you will get the idea from the visuals. And that's basically it for me.
მამობა არაჩვეულებრივი თავგადასავალია. თავგადასავალი, რომელიც ჯერ კიდევ შვილის დაბადებამდე იწყება. მაშინ, როცა ის მუცლად ყოფნის პერიოდს გადის. შენ კი მასთან პირველ შეხვედრაზე, ერთად გასატარებელ ბედნიერ მომავალზე, შვილის აღზრდასა და მისთვის განათლების მიცემაზე ფიქრობ. აღზრდის პროცესში მამის ჩართულობას უმნიშვნელოვანესი გავლენა აქვს ბავშვის მომავალზე. კვლევებით დასტურდება, რომ ბავშვებს, რომლებზეც ორივე მშობელი თანაბრად ზრუნავს, მაღალი თვითშეფასება აქვთ და კარგად სწავლობენ. ზრდასრულ ასაკში კი თავს უფრო ბედნიერად გრძნობენ. და როგორ უნდა იყოს ზრუნველი მამა? ამას მამების სკოლაში გაიგებ. მამების სკოლაში ისწავლი, როგორ შეარჩიო შვილის ყოლისთვის სასურველი პერიოდი, როგორ დაუჭირო მხარი პარტნიორს ორსულობისა და ბავშვის დაბადების დროს, როგორ აირჩიო ბავშვის აღზრდის მეთოდები, როგორ დაიცვა შვილი ძალადობისგან, როგორ შეინარჩუნო ჰარმონიული ურთიერთობა ოჯახში. ხო, და კიდევ ის, რომ სკოლა უფასოა და ღიაა ყველასთვის, ვინც ახალბედა მამაა ან შვილის სკოლას გეგმავს. შემოგვიერთდი.
That's basically it from me. I ran by 45 seconds more. I'm sorry about it. Thanks a lot. And if you have any questions, please, you can contact me in chat or some other place. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My congratulations with tomorrow's launching. And so great results in your country, and we move forward. And welcome, very active in our chat, Andrei Maximenko from Belarus, national consultant of UNFPA to support men engagement program component, with the presentation involved of fatherhood, regional initiatives of CSOs and private companies. What's next? Please, Andrei.
Здравствуйте, коллеги.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. So I'm going to switch on the presentation. Yeah, good. Once again, good afternoon. I'm going to tell you very fast, but my presentation is very interesting, so don't miss on it. I will tell you about some of the things that we are planning in Belarus within the framework of the work of the project Father Schools, which is supported by the Lvov Club, a non-governmental organization. If you would like to learn more about our activity, in the chat you have a link to the website, and please, if you'd like to learn more about it, please contact us. Now I would like to tell a little bit more the story, why we've decided to present this very events. The majority of the work that we have been conducting before that has been to fulfill certain projects. So that's the initiative, and the initiative was coming from the top. Am I speaking very fast? The interpreter may be a little bit slow, but I think everyone is okay. So this time we decided to check to see if the target audience, the local target audience, local community is ready to support its activity on its own, meaning that what if there is no any external economical funding support or technical support? Will the local community be able to attain the objectives to promote the fatherhood in the nation? So this is how two events came to existence. The first one that we're showing is the father's pancakes, daddy's pancakes. And what is this? We've contacted small and medium enterprises for SMEs in our country and in our town, and we suggested that they participate in the conduction of this type of events for the fathers and for other families of our town. And we didn't have any support. We didn't do anything. So
Нам и специалистов, предоставили аппаратуру, все, что было для этого нужно. На местном предприятии мы попросили расходные материалы, там, муку, яйца. Там,
so we asked for eggs and we asked for everything so that they supply to us. And somebody else asked to bring something else, and some other participant brought something else. Somebody brought pantry, somebody brought ovens and everything. So the fathers and their children were actually cooking, making the dough. Английский чутно? Do you hear the English?
Yeah, we hear you.
Английский чутно? Do you hear the English translation?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Sorry, because there are some technical problems with the Ukrainian channel. So everything that was meant to be at that event was actually organized by the target group and by the local community. And then actually those people who make those cakes, they would make different stuffing and they would treat the people who would attend with those pancakes. So when I'm saying that the parents and the children were cooking together, that was true. They actually were cooking together. In addition to organizing quite interesting event, we've also set up some interesting target zones where different professionals along with the parents would be able to, have some good time. Not everyone would have some pancakes. Somebody would like to have a picture drawn, or somebody would like to play a table or desk games, and so on and so forth. The most interesting thing is that why we realized that this is quite an efficient event to conduct, because the very participants, when we asked them, please help us, they responded fast, and they responded in some small things, like people would bring a jar of homemade jam that they made. Somebody would bring a unique recipe to make the pancakes according to. So each one would bring a contribution into this event. And that is pancakes. We've conducted it on several occasions. 50 to 70 people would participate. And in the picture on the left, you see a group of volunteers who help us to make these projects reality. And yet another event that I would like to draw attention to is called Dad, Give Me a Haircut. And well, similar to the one that I've just described, so our task has been to attract the fathers into some kind of joint activity. And this is the festival, the haircut or hairstyle festival, haircut made by the fathers. When I'm saying that fathers were delivering a haircut to their children, this is actually what happened. You can see one of the participants, and he's been there, and he cut the hair of his child. The SMEs would help, and we contacted the local barbershops, local hairstylists, and we said, if you want to, please help us. This is the idea that we've got.
They brought us all the devices and to rent apartment, the premises, and they provided the experts, and every father with the haircut expert. You see her on this at the background of that photo. So each daddy was making the haircut, and some of them were really complicated. Like here, for example, in this picture, father is doing haircut for her daughter. Of course, it was not perfect, but then the haircut expert would do the some fine-tuning. It was important for us that, just like in the previous event, that not only fathers would give something to their children, but that they would receive some connection in response, so that the child would do something about their fathers. And we had various zones where children could paint something, some kind of body art with their daddies. First, we thought that daddies would refuse from it, like having something painted on their faces, but we had such a line of fathers, we had to ask an extra body art expert to facilitate the process. So what's next? Again, why we chose this particular type of activities? Based on the researches that we had in Belarus by UNFPA, if fathers are involved into some action with their children, it should be something really huge. It could be their birthday or monthly visit to the zoo or going to the school meeting, but this like day-to-day routine actions.
We have some problems.
Andrei,
do you hear us? Anyone? Do you hear me?
I think Andrei have some problems with connection.
Okay, I've just wanted to comment his presentation that I have already experienced in doing haircut to my daughter, but he decided to leave us. But I hope he will return. So just to not to stop our oh, I forgot to change my interpretation. Sorry, we've had problems with interpretation, but we did our best to solve them. So I hope that Ukrainian is now okay. And now we move exactly to Ukraine, and welcome Valeria Taran, Program EU4Gender Equality Project Manager, and with a presentation of gender transformative offline and online modalities to promote male engagement, Tato Hubs. And welcome, Valeria.
Hello, everyone. Please tell me when I will share the screen. Just a moment. Do you see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, about Ukrainian experience. We started even in 2015 with the communication campaign for Hands Happiness. Why we did it? Because before it, we launched as a way to identify public perceptions and behaviors. And we found out that more than 60% of marriages in Ukraine end up with a divorce. And one of the main reasons for this was unequal share of domestic chore. That's why the logo of our campaign is "It's twice as easier together." And the main idea was to cook together, to clean together, to have a child care together. This campaign was supported by a number of live events, like devoted to Father's Day. And you can see on the right when we had such a day when our fathers were dancing. Why we did so? Because we developed a theory of change, and we decided to first recruit fathers from entertaining activities. And when we got a loyal audience among fathers, then we move to some educating activities. Also, in 2018, we did a masculinity research to identify dads, men's behaviors, attitudes towards gender equality and towards domestic violence. And upon it, we developed our also communication campaign and our interventions. The first date clubs were launched in Ukraine in eastern part of it through the UN Recovery and Peace Building Program. We did capacity building of local activists to equip them with proper knowledge. And you can see here the first models of our date clubs. So on the left, you see the ecological date club, which is run by the Club of Fishermen. It's quite unexpectedly for us. It is run by Kramatorsk. And it's very interesting that Kramatorsk team did a 3-day boating trip where they engaged only dads and kids, no women on the boat. And so dads and kids were supported by a male psychologist. And through a very interesting formats of interactions like cooking in the open air or erecting tents, dads kids could develop their communication skills or team building skills or conflict resolution skills. And on the right, you can see also another model. It's a sports dad club based at the Lyceum, Troitsk. And here you can see also like judo lessons, or they have joint football lessons and some others. Currently, we develop a national network of dads clubs across Ukraine, across different localities. And we use also the Promoter methodology while doing the capacity building of our NGO partners and fathers themselves. Here you can see the screen, the photo from the Promoter game Gender in Play. So it means that we divided all participants into kids and dads, and they played with different toys. And then we had a discussion, why playing with dolls, what options, what opportunities give it in the future, what competencies does it develop? Or even when girls, because we have kids, both boys and girls, when girls play with guns or with balls, what this means for them in the future. Another modalities which we have, it's like yoga, joint classes of yoga for fathers and kids, football and cooking. In addition to it, we have, of course, separate thematic sessions for fathers, like building trusting relations with partners, child psychology, prevention of domestic violence, and some others. Of course, due to COVID, we have now new challenges and opportunities. So we moved to online. And in addition to a traditional format of online classes, like online webinars, we also have live streams with psychologists. And we have such interesting formats as live quizzes. It's a picture from a live quiz. It's an intellectual and entertainment competitions among teams of dads and kids. In addition to it, we have a number of interesting photo and live stories on joint householding, responsibilities, or meaningful leisure. And also what we managed to do, we managed to establish a digital online club in Kiev. It's purely digital, purely online format. But I will keep intrigue up to Ukrainian session when our partners will unpack more. So I will not stop here. And coming back also to the training content, we now currently adapt their Promoter methodology. So we decided to have a basic curricula of mandatory sessions and some optional sessions. Like the basic curricula includes partner relations, how to be a father, child psychology, how to interact with a child, how to interact with a child's emotions or fears. And here you can see that we do not address only early childhood development, but we also cover the period up to 18 years. We have also nonviolent communication, and as optional sessions, we have sexual education and support of a partner during pregnancy and delivery. Among partners, we have celebrities, we have experts on different topics like reproductive health, first aid, sexual education, and we invite them as live speakers or we make videos with them. Among business partners, we have such interesting partners as diapers producers or sports clubs, in addition to traditional entertainment industry or restaurants. And among our media partners, we have a football channel. The main challenge for us is, of course, to sustain our suggested models, not just to finish when the support will end. So how we managed to do this, we signed memorandums of understanding, and our dad clubs in the region work closely with local authorities. For example, due to advocacy of Club of Fishermen in Kramatorsk, they advocated for adoption of regional program on involving men into responsible parenting through tourism, cultural and educational activities. And this program has been passed in the Donetsk region, and it has also their confirmed funding for it. We have also another format of local support. It's through social budgeting, when local authorities presume some grants on a competitive basis. So that is the main mode how we managed to do this. And okay, I would like to thank, first of all, to all Ukrainians, all Ukrainian partners, I mean, NGO partners and our governmental partners and regional partners for all your efforts, for your ideas and for fruitful cooperation. So thank you, and I'll stop here.
Thank you very much, Valeria. And before we pass to Q&A session, I would like to back in time to the start of our forum and welcoming remarks. And with a big pleasure, finally pass the floor to Erika Klapilova, UN Women representative in Ukraine. Ms. Erika, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, colleagues, and please accept my apologies. I think it was my mistake. It was my mistake. I was in the other and I did something with my calendar, but I'm happy that I'm catching up and I have an opportunity to listen to your experiences. Can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you so much. My understanding is that Jaime has opened this meeting talking a lot about the importance of men and fathers in breaking the stereotypes. And I would just second that this is extremely gender stereotypes are core beliefs that can be modified and transformed, and without the active engagement of both men and women, boys and girls, this is not possible. And active or gender equal fatherhood is one of these areas where men can probably best demonstrate in action how the gender stereotypes can be broken and can be dealt with the families where the core values of children are born, I would say. I just want to say that together with UNFPA, we are working not in this program only, but we have been working globally and also in Ukraine on breaking the stereotypes with men and boys engagement in different areas beyond positive fatherhood, such as, for example, recently in cooperation with Promundo US, we have done the survey about masculinities among the security sector staff. So there is still a lot of work to be done in changing these beliefs, because gender stereotypes are just beliefs which have to be changed and modified. And this program and examples which you are already bringing forward are an excellent opportunity to learn from each other and to explore further areas of cooperation. And I just want to say that the combination of experiences from different countries, which are EU, Eastern Partnership countries, plus US, Sweden, and Turkey, and from the regions in Ukraine, is really an excellent combination of experiences and models and tools how we can progress in our work. And I just want once more to thank you, European Union, for giving us this opportunity, UN Women and UNFPA, to work on this program, because it turned to be one of the big learning programs for all of us, and enriching our already ongoing work in different countries. So thank you very much. And again, deep apologies for messing up and joining you late, but I'm very much looking forward to listen to the colleagues who will present examples of their work. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for such great, big and welcoming, great messages. Okay, so sorry. So let's see in our chat, and it seems that we don't have questions so far. But what we have such message. Hello, would it be possible for me to shortly present TV series Papa, You Are Crazy that we made in Serbia? We support you, UNFPA. So I think we can listen Mr. Misha, for a few minutes, and I pass the floor to you.
Well, thank you very much, Alexander. I hope you hear me well.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's really a great thing that you gave me the opportunity to present the TV series that we made here in Belgrade, the capital of Serbia, with really great support from UNFPA. Just a short introduction about myself. I'm a journalist by occupation, and I'm also a psychologist by education. So I try to combine these two in what I do. And I started making radio show called Papa, You're Crazy in 2015. Based on my own experiences as a father. And now I'm really very glad that we made TV series with full support of UNFPA here in Serbia. What we did, we talked to different, we made 13 episodes of 28 minutes. And we talked with 13 different fathers about their experiences. And we talked to some of them are celebrities here in Serbia, like big sports stars or famous actors or TV directors or famous musicians. For instance, a violinist from Belgrade shared his experiences with his 14-month-old son and so on. So we had the different male models sharing their experiences about being fathers and what it meant to them to be a father. And we also presented some different models of parenting. For instance, we talked with one father. He is a single father, and he has a son with a specific type of autism called Asperger's syndrome. He talked about his difficulties of raising his son alone. We talked to two people who are now divorced for 5 years, but are very successful in sharing parenthood and being active parents, especially the father, who is really engaged and dedicated to raising his children. So we had quite a big success because we also had a YouTube channel. The TV show was aired on National Public Service Television, Radio Television of Serbia. We also had our pages on Facebook and Instagram, resulting with some 150,000 people watching the series on YouTube channel, and hopefully we will continue these activities in Serbia and make some new series. We also plan to be a part of Dad's Hub here in Serbia. I'm glad to hear very interesting experiences from all over Europe, all the countries that presented their share and what they did. So it was really inspiring for me to hear from all of you, and I give you, really very big thumbs up to all of the engaged fathers all over Europe and Turkey and wherever you are. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to share with you just shortly our TV series. We hope we will have it translated in English, which will make it easier for all of you to see what we have done. So once again, thank you very much, and big regards from Belgrade to all of the participants.
Thank you very much. I'm, as a journalist, it's a very interesting idea from your TV series. So thank you very much, and I see that we can move to next session, and next session is international good practices of men involvement into care work. And we like to start from Giovanna Lauro, who is Doctor of Philosophy, Vice President of Programs and Research, with the presentation Promundo US, Program P, Engaging Men as Caring, Equitable and Non-Violent Fathers, Approaches to Scale Up, Catalyzing Change through the Global Men Care Platform. Please, Giovanna, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Alexander. And hello, everybody. I'm gonna be sharing my screen as we talk. I just wanted to thank you, first of all, for the opportunity to be here today. It's a real pleasure to be part of this very interesting panel. And so, as Alexander mentioned, my role is more to provide kind of a global perspective, bring in some of the evidence and lessons learned about work that we've been discussing in terms of fatherhood and caregiving, and sharing some recommendation for sustainability and scaling up. I hope you are seeing my screen. If you don't, please do let me know. Before I get started, very briefly, I thought I would share something about Promundo for those of you who are not familiar with our work. We are an applied research organization that has been working on gender and masculinities for the past 2 decades, conducting research, designing programs, as well as advocacy to promote gender equality, specifically by transforming masculinities. That is, specifically by changing the ways in which we think about what it means to be a man. And to do this, of course, we work with men and boys, but very much so with women and girls and individuals of all gender identities as well. Because as we heard, for instance, from the very first presentation that was shared today from the study on gender stereotypes across 6 countries in the region, women themselves often can carry harmful notions, harmful stereotypes vis-a-vis gender equality. So all of the materials that we'll be mentioning in my presentation are on our website, and they are open source. So I strongly encourage you to explore the website, use the material, adapt them in your own context. To get started here in terms of the role of fathers in child development, some of you may be very familiar with the research on the topic, so I'll be very brief, but I just wanted to acknowledge that we are building today on 4 decades of research on this topic. Most of the research so far has focused on the global north, but increasingly so it's expanding and becoming really a truly global body of research that tells us about the many pathways in which fathers' engagement can have a positive role in childhood development. That is a direct role in terms of providing a safer environment, better nutrition, better nurturing interactions, and therefore fostering cognitive development, as well as in an indirect role by modeling behaviors, modeling gender equitable, peaceful behaviors that can have both an immediate impact on the lives of boys and girls, as well as a long-term impact in the lives of boys and girls once they grow up, in the relationship that will form once they grow up. And we'll talk a little bit more about that shortly. Before I go on, I also wanted to talk very concretely about what is that we talk about when we refer to fathers' positive engagement. We are not talking about fathers just doing a little bit more of the unpaid care work, whether it's domestic care work or whether it's caregiving work. We are really talking about an equitable sharing of the unpaid care work between men and women. And to do so, we're talking about men, of course, being more present in their children's life and playing a much more proactive, nurturing and caretaking role. But we're also talking about equitable relationship within the couple, respectful relationship, nonviolent relationship. And all of this needs to be centered on a feminist perspective. That is, engaging men in caregiving starts also by asking women, what does positive engagement look like for them? How can we support, as we support women, for instance, greater participation in the public, in the economic, in the political life? What can men do to be more supportive in an equitable way within the household as well? Here I wanted to share a little bit of data. As a researcher, I couldn't resist not doing that. And so this is a snapshot from some of our images studies that some of you are familiar with because they have been conducted in several countries in the region. IMAGES stands for the International Men and Gender Equality Survey, and it's basically the largest questionnaire on men's and women's attitudes and behaviors around several aspects of gender equality, including violence. And so one of the core associations, significantly statistical association that come out of images is the link between violence experienced or witnessed during childhood and adult behavior, specifically in relationship. And so what you see on this map is the fact that if we look at images data, we find that in 24 countries where we have conducted this analysis, we see that the men who have experienced or witnessed violence as children are much more likely to perpetrate violence within the context of an intimate partner relationship once they become adult. And specifically, they are 2.5 times more likely. And if we think that on average around the world, 1 out of 3 men has experienced or witnessed violence during childhood, we really understand the magnitude of these statistics and the importance that actually having a father who's a peaceful presence, an equitable presence in childhood can play in really breaking the intergenerational transmission of violence. That's why, along with partners, we have created a gender transformative parent training called Program P, where P stands for Papa, and that we've heard already from the previous presentation of some of your colleagues in the region have adapted, which basically aims at, first of all, changing individual fathers' attitudes and behaviors around gender equality, but also changing the norms in the broader communities, in the family, in the workplace where fathers live and act. And finally, also intends to change the structure, specifically by working with health systems in order to encourage an engagement of fathers starting from the beginning of life. That is starting from antenatal care, because evidence tells us that even though adult men are really hard to reach, 80% of adult men will attend at least one antenatal visit. So that is a crucial entry point for the health sector to reach, to root, and therefore to retain fathers at the very beginning of their fatherhood journey. I will not go into the details of what Program P is, because we already heard it, for instance, I think in the presentation from Ukraine a little bit, but basically at the core, as I mentioned, is a gender transformative parenting intervention. That is, it's a parent intervention in terms of providing information about fathers vis-a-vis childhood development, positive discipline, health and nutrition, but it's gender transformative because it does so also by providing the opportunity to reflect and to change one's attitudes and behaviors around gender roles, questioning the roles of men exclusively as providers, and also questioning the roles of women exclusively as caregivers. Here I wanted to share some results from one of the many adaptations of Program P. Specifically, here you're looking at a slide that talks about the Bandeberejo adaptation, which is the local name of Program P in Rwanda. And I wanted to share this, even though it is outside of the region that we are discussing today, because we've got results from a randomized control trial. So it could be interesting to really understand the impact of the intervention and the strategy for scaling up. This is an intervention that we've been implementing in collaboration with RAMREC, that is the local men's resource center in Rwanda, over the past 10 years. It started originally by targeting fathers exclusively, and now it's really targeting couples. Because what we were hearing from fathers who had gone through the program was that the program was great, they were changing their attitudes and behaviors, but they were still living in a context where their partners hadn't changed. And so we really understood the importance of establishing this as a gender relational intervention. This intervention is now being scaled up because, as I was mentioning, through a randomized control trial, we found solid evidence to advocate with the Ministry of Health in Rwanda for its scaling up. Here is a summary of the evidence that we saw, and the core message that I want you to take away with you today is the possibilities that a gender transformative parenting intervention can have in terms of impacting not only childhood development outcomes, not only health and nutrition outcomes, but also reducing violence. We found really impressive results, for instance, in terms of the reduction of violence against women in the intervention group. We witnessed a 40% reduction on violence against mothers. We also witnessed a reduction in violence against children. Interestingly, we saw the men increase in average about an hour per day in terms of their engagement in care work within the household. We also saw that this didn't translate in less time spent by women in household care work. So something to keep in mind for future iteration. How can we engage men and translate that into freeing up time for women as well? On to the next slide. Where we are now in the intervention in Rwanda, that I think it's important also for many of the interventions that we heard about today in the region, is trying to move from a successful pilot to an implementation at scale, and therefore moving from an NGO implemented intervention to something that is actually taken up by governmental institutions. And this doesn't mean taking NGOs out of the pictures, quite the contrary. It just means changing the role they play, no longer implementing the group education themselves, but really playing a crucial role in ensuring that as intervention is being scaled up by government institutions, the quality, the fidelity of the intervention is maintained and that government institutions remain accountable. So here it's a call for funders and researchers on the need to learn more about what works when we scale up this kind of gender transformative parent intervention. This applies to Program P, but it applies also to other similar interventions in our field. How do we scale them up, maintaining fidelity and quality? What are cost-effective ways to do so? In Rwanda, for instance, the scaling up is taking place by having community health workers implement the intervention directly instead of NGO workers. But how do we ensure the community health workers are effectively trained, supervised throughout the duration of the intervention and beyond? So these are our questions for implementation research. I am concluding here, just a couple more slides to reflect on maybe some learnings that we can tease out of the experience I just showed in Rwanda, as well as other experiences that Promundo is engaged in across many regions, about what is essential to scale up and sustain a gender transformative parenting intervention. First thing, absolutely having an effective institutional partnership. In Rwanda, we've been working for over 10 years with civil society, and throughout the years, we have established strong partnerships with the Ministry of Health at multiple levels, getting until the district and village level to really rely on this structure to encourage fathers' recruitment and retention at a large scale. We've also included other parts of the government as part of an advisory board, Ministry of Gender, Early Childhood Development Unit. So really trying to think about multiple levels and ensuring that throughout this process, the relationship with civil society and with communities is maintained. Throughout this, also a lot of investment on capacity development. The strength of gender transformative intervention relies on the quality of the facilitation, that is on the quality of the conversations and the reflection that take place in the group education session. And to do that, we really need to train well the facilitators, and we need to supervise them well to provide them support. And finally, the third point, it's really crucial to think about these interventions beyond a pilot mentality. How do they fit with the broader strategies that a government, a district may have around health, around gender, around early childhood development at any given time? And how can we build economies of scale so that even once this intervention is over, there may be other opportunities for engagement to strengthen and reiterate and repeat the same messages that we've been pushing forward? Are there, for instance, home visitation programs that are already active and that could include a more gender transformative lens? Are there cash transfer programs that could include a more gender transformative lens? And importantly, are there policies around parental leave? We heard from some of the colleagues in the region about the importance of supporting and advocating for gender equitable parental leave policies that need to be fully paid, equal, and non-transferable to be fully effective. For those of you interested in learning more about what kind of policy can support this kind of change, I would encourage you to go to the MenCare website. MenCare is this global campaign that we as Promundo co-coordinate and which has partners in over 50 countries, including Georgia, as we heard earlier today. It really aims at fostering engaged motherhood to promote gender equality, and it has plenty of research, programmatic, and advocacy resources that, again, are open source and can be adapted. And on this note, my very last slide, just a pitch for the next publication coming out of the MenCare campaign, which is the State of the World's Fathers, which will be published on June 15th. This is a biennial publication that we launch with partners, and the focus is really on showcasing the latest evidence and best practices, including very targeted policy, research, program recommendations to ensure that as we work with men to promote engaged fatherhood and foster gender equality, we don't only work at the local level. We don't only put the onus of change on the shoulders of individual men and women, but we really take the responsibility for structural actions. So we really need to push policy change, government engagement, in order to ensure that the change we want to see can be not only achievable, but sustainable and at scale. I will conclude here, and I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. It's a really, really interesting. Sorry, I have a problem with my translation interpretation. Sorry. Oh, here is. So, thank you very much. Really global initiative and really successful results, as you mentioned. And if we want to continue, we can also have opportunity to hear Jens Karberg, Senior Advisor of Equal Parenthood, with the presentation Men Sweden, Transforming Societies Through Gender Equal Parenthood, Swedish experiences and lessons learned from men's involvement in caregiving. So Mr. Karberg, I pass the floor to you.
Thank you very much. I will share my presentation if I can. So, thank you very much, and thanks for all the previous presentation. It's been very interesting. For me, the work with gender equal parenting is so important. It's a great opportunity to be able to work in this area. Why? I think giving children access to both their parents, sharing the responsibilities and caregiving, we give children the best opportunity to develop and thrive without limiting them by norms or preconceptions. Also, parenting is one of the most important keys to gender equality for children, for parents, families, and society at large. We also see that men wants to take responsibility. We saw in the survey that we actually did together with Promundo that 94% of fathers living in Sweden agree that it is a father's responsibility to be heavily involved in childcare. And Swedish fathers are not unique in this regard. Similar fathers in the Nordic countries, in Japan, Brazil, Canada, UK, and Netherlands also agree at almost the same degree. When our organization offers safe spaces for fathers to talk about being a parent, the relationship to their child, the relationship to their spouse, they are thrilled. Many fathers say that they haven't had the chance to speak about this ever in their life before. How can it be like that? How can it be that men taking so much responsibility in other areas have hard to take responsibility for their children, responsibility for relation. I think it's so important and interesting to speak about, and I'm very happy to be here today. And for you taking the time to listen to me, but mostly thank you for doing the great and important work you're all doing. So I have about 8 minutes to try.
Mr. Jens,
yes.
Do you hear me? We've just began sharing your presentation by our technical service.
Okay.
Because we don't see yours, so you can just tell when they must switch your presentation slides.
Okay. Should I try one more time, but just to test mine, or?
I think yes.
Okay. Let me see. Can you see it now?
No.
No. Okay. Then please continue. And you can take the next slide. I come from the Swedish organization MEN, and we have, let's see where I am. And we have a vision of gender equal society without violence, and we have been working towards that vision since 1993. Next, please. We are a member-based organization with more than 2,000 members in 23 chapters all across Sweden, and we have an office with more than 30 experts. Next, please.
Два перекладача.
I said that parenting is central to gender equality. What do I mean? When we look at society, we see that aspects are not shared equal between men and women. We also see that they are closely linked to how we share responsibilities for children and unpaid housework. In a global perspective, Sweden has undergone enormous change over the last decades. For countries that wish to follow, it's important to understand that persistence is needed and change takes time. And please bear in mind that Sweden is still not a gender equal society. We're still struggling with similar problems as many other countries in the world. We need to acknowledge that the progress made and at the same time continues to push forward. I will give a few examples where we are today. Next, please. I don't see the presentation, but I hope we are at work now. The employment rate for women in Sweden, women and men have close to equal career development until the first child is born. After that, something changes. The income gap increases, women are less promoted, work more part-time, and are more absent from work due to sickness and childcare. At the same time, next please, the employment rate for women in Sweden is the second highest in Europe after Iceland, something which is clearly linked to the generous parental system in the two countries. And Swedish women perform much less unpaid work compared to women in almost all parts of the world. And the difference between men and women is less than 5 hours per week compared to, for example, the European average of 12. Next, please. Economy, women's salary level for full-time work is 95% of men. However, the gap when it comes to actual income as well as pension is still high and much related to parental leave and part-time work due to childcare. Next, please. At the same time, we see for each month that the father is on parental leave, the mother's future annual income increases by almost 7%. Next, please. Health. When women and men's outtake of sick days are the same until the first child is born. After that, women's outtake doubles for at least 17 years, while men's remain the same. There is a clear connection to the responsibility women take for children. Next, please. On the other hand, we see that paternity leave in connection to birth has reduced the risk that mothers need to seek care for childbirth complication and a reduction of use of medication. Next, please. Norms in Sweden. In Sweden, women still take out the majority of parental leave. But next, please. 75% of women, Swedish men and women agree that parental leave should be shared equal between parents. And 90% of men takes out parental leave today. Next, please. In Sweden and in the world, men are responsible for almost all violence, not just men and not all men, but no other parameter is as clear as the connection to gender. But in a more equal society, women's resilience is stronger. And it's beyond doubt that men's increased responsibility for children is one of the most important drivers for gender equality in Sweden. Next, please. All these aspects are clearly linked to gender equality, and we see that many reasons for change, for how we share the responsibility and the care for our children. So, how do we create change? Next, please. The socio-ecological model is a way of structuring how we approach the problem, and it has helped us to see where to implement our work. We see that we need to work on several levels to succeed in the work around parenting. At the same time, we also see that what we do on one level may have a major impact on others. Next, please. On society level and at large, one of the most important aspects are laws and regulation regarding parental leave. In 1974, my brother was born in Sweden. And Sweden was the first country in the world to decide that men and women should have the opportunity to share parental leave equal and to receive compensation for being at home with children. It was revolutionary, but not decisive. My father did not consider the idea to stay at home, and neither did other men in Sweden. But What has been decisive in Sweden is the earmarked time for each parent. In 1995, 20 years after the law, still only 10% of all men took out men still only took out about 10% of parental leave days, and 40% of men did not take out a single day. Reserving 1 month for men, the so-called father months, had a major impact. And over the night, those who did not withdraw any days at all decreased from 40% to 20%, and the unequal outtake was reduced by 40 days. 1 month is today 3 months, and it has continued to drive the change. Next, please. But we can't just change on one level. For example, on a community level, highly subsidized preschools has been very important. And today we see, we as an organization see an important work towards professional who meets parents, especially those who meet parents early, such as midwives and pediatric nurses. Their attitudes and practice are of great importance, and we work with coaching and guiding, as well as lectures and training in equal parenting. A good example is that Sweden has introduced to offer fathers to meet with a nurse alone, together with the child, but alone as parent. It has since long been the practice for mothers, and the focus has been on mental health and today also to speak about violence. So a few years ago, a similar practice was introduced for men. We have been part of the work with the implementation, and we have seen how important it is. It has been for many fathers to be seen as a parent and to talk about these issues. Next, please. When it comes to individual and relationships level, men as an organization have been working with father groups for more than 20 years. And we have seen that this support is important for fathers. We have evaluated all groups, and we see that many fathers feel that the group is important. When we ask, more than half of the participants say that they have been becoming a more present fathers. Almost 75% say that they talk more with their partner, and close to 60% that they talk more to other fathers. Next, please. So there are so many things to talk about, but I will have to stop now. If you just could go to the next, please. I just want to mention that we see our work with gender equality and violence prevention as a lifelong work that should start as early as possible, even before the child is born, and be ongoing throughout life. We call it a life cycle perspective. Next, please. So through a holistic and sustainable approach, gender equal parenting has the potential of transforming societies. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I really found a few interesting tips for our father clubs here in Ukraine. Now we want to hear a director of fatherhood programs department, Hassan Deniz, and presentation Achieve Transformation Masculinities and Fatherhood from Turkey.
Herkese merhabalar. Ben Anne Çocuk Eğitim Vakfı'dan Hasan Deniz. Türkiye'de yaptığımız, babalık konusunda yaptığımız çalışmalardan bahsedeceğim. Anne Çocuk Eğitim Vakfı 1996 yılından bu yana babalık alanında çalışıyor. 2015-2017 yılları arasında Türkiye'de Babalığı Anlamak isimli bir araştırma yaptık. Bu araştırmada bir kez daha cinsiyet rolleriyle babalık tutumları arasındaki güçlü bağlar ortaya çıktı. Bunun en dikkat çekici olanlarından bir tanesi bu araştırma kapsamında babalara
Українська.
Everything is okay?
You can continue.
Okay. I continue. Bu araştırmada ilginç olan noktalardan bir tanesi babalara sorduk neden çocuk sahibi oldunuz? Çocuk sahibi
One
olmadaki
of the most important things of this research is
motivasyonunuz neydi diye.
the attitude that the parents have got towards their children.
Babaların %92'si
And,
bize çocukları sevdiğim için diye
We need
yanıt
to
verdiler.
know what the parents have got to do, what the fathers have got to do when they deal with their children. And we've asked that question, why you are bringing their parents, and 92% of the parents, of the fathers of the parents have said,
Sorry.
hold on a second.
Peki dedik, çocuklara bakmak kimin görevi? %91'i annelerin diye cevap verdi. Yine
And when we asked who has got to be responsible for bringing of the children, 92% of the respondents said that it's the job of the woman. It's got to be done by the woman. And we've realized that the parents the father does not participate much in the bringing of the child. We asked what we can do to make fathers more responsible in the bringing of the children. And we asked them what we've got to do to engage fathers more in the bringing of the children. And that is why we started taking certain measures that we take every week. In addition to that, there's a special campaign in which we let the father do a lot of job, because father is a very important part of the bringing of the child. And we also spread the information about what the woman has got to do, being a member of the family. And I would also like to say that we would like to support small organizations which are spread all over the national territory, and we want those organizations be promoting responsible fatherhood in the national territory. And we will tell you more about what those organizations do, and we will tell about the programs that organizations promote. And each and every exercise, each and every class that is conducted, it's weekly, once a week. And now I'm telling you about this type of supporting program called Changing Masculinity Manhood.
Of conscious fatherhood and parenthood, and for that we involved the point of view from the fathers and children, and this way I would like to show you a little video here about our program of conscious fatherhood. My name is Nazat, my last name is Akinaim, and I'm a bodyguard. I would like to say that it's important for me to have the fatherhood of the conscious fatherhood. It helped me so much, and I also started helping my wife, and I realized that I need to that she has rights of her own, and that my children are important.
Dünya yıkılsın, çocuğumu dinlerim. İsterse önemsiz bir şey söylesin, dinlerim.
I mean, I have realized now that even if the world changes and I will respect my child and my name is Ahmad Turk, and I also chose to participate in the Conscious Fatherhood program in Turkey, and I participated in the program in order to obtain a better education and to understand the Institute of Fatherhood. Besides, after having such education, I started spending more time with my children, and the time that we have together, it's much more efficient, more useful for my children. 2 years ago, I took the course 2 years ago. And after getting this education, I started having a more individual approach and to implement it. And I think that more parents need to go and get this education. I have a 9-year-old son, and I started with this program, and as a result, my relationship with my son got better, for sure. Besides, it's important that during this course we get a relief from a lot of stress, and we come home stress-free. Besides, this program is very large scale. As of today, about 80,000 fathers took educational courses under the program, and we are also doing a lot of action, like interventions, and in order for our parents to understand their responsibility as fathers towards their children, and so they would understand that it's important to distribute evenly the responsibilities and duties on upbringing their children. And besides, during such events, we can say that the initiative also comes from the fathers who participate in our programs. Besides, our goal is to have fathers on the forefront in such programs. I would also like to draw your attention to sports activities, because it helps to upbring more close relationships between fathers and children. And besides, we are trying to engage our fathers, so they would participate in all kinds of activities.
Sevginin şiddet içermeyeceğine dair. Çünkü biz babalık üzerinden aynı zamanda
informational support of such processes becomes very important on sending out messages. The main goal of our program, which is why we are focusing our attention, is to change the perception of fatherhood, so that fathers would come to understand that they shall be on equal terms in their bringing of children. On the other side, we have 11,000 graduates who finished this conscious fatherhood course, and in the places where they live, in villages or towns or cities, they promote the idea of the conscious fatherhood of the project, and on the gender equality, which is also high on the agenda. That's why they have lots of meetings, and they are trying to interest the population so they would it would understand the importance of the gender equality and conscious fatherhood. And as of now, we are supporting such fathers who are taking initiative on themselves, and we support them in this. Again, I would like to underline that at the latest Valentine's Day, we promoted the importance of fatherhood and gender equality, and for that we established an action plan. And the purpose of this action plan and these actions, it was to bring fathers to more conscious families and more conscious attitude toward the women and children, and the more conscious fatherhood with less gender violence. Also, we are cooperating with the private sector, with businesses, in order to highlight the conscious fatherhood. Also, we underline that it's important that the society has an understanding of the importance of fatherhood on equal terms with motherhood, and that fathers are take responsibility for bringing their children. We think that it's one of the most important issues on our agenda. Besides implementing this program in the private sector, we see that there are other positive nuances of this program. Here's another example. If a girl is working and a father, and it's her mother who is accompanying her home from work, we started changing that, because then father would bring her home from work, because it was considered unacceptable in our society. Besides, another important resource is actual promotional and advertisement, where mother figure is usually used in terms of water advertising. It goes hand in hand with domestic household issues, and they are using mother's figure. Mother is the mother. She is influencing effect in the society, and it makes the like an image which is very solid and petrified. With our program of involved fatherhood, we would like not only to solve the fatherhood problem, but also to change the approach to understanding the fatherhood institution as such, and we would like our program to be fully large-scale, with full coverage from private sector and up to the global changes in the society. I thank you all for your attention.
Thank you very much. I think that your presentation can be something like toolkit for further clubs. And thank you very much one more time. As we did before, let's back in time to previous session, and we are finally welcome Head of Gender Hub Azerbaijan, Mariam Majidova, and of course want to hear about increasing fathers' engagement in childcare. So
Thank you, Alexander, and thank you for the invitation. I would like to thank all the previous speakers for the shared experience. We learn from each other, and by sharing good and bad case practices, we can improve actually. So that is why, from my behalf, I can say that I learned a lot, and I look forward to implement some of the mentioned projects in a different aspect, of course, according to the local realities that we can have. So thank you for that. I represent Gender Hub Azerbaijan. I've been involved in 2 projects with UNFPA Azerbaijan regarding the empowerment of fathers and their involvement in childcare. I will have short presentation followed by the video. Both projects were happening since December 2020. So basically in the past 6-7 months, we're working with fathers very closely. And this kind of experience is pilot for us, but we look forward to have better projects and actually learn from our mistakes and also from the successes. I'm sharing my screen now. Just a second. So the project that we were implementing basically consists of 3 different parts. We had different campaigns and also grassroots activities. The first project is called My Father Loves Me. Then we decided to go into involving gender equality activists in different regions of Azerbaijan, districts of Azerbaijan, and involve them as well to go beyond Baku and actually start doing campaigns in different community-based organizations. And the third one was the campaign, which is called Her Fert Değerlidir. Every person is important, or every person matters, because in Azerbaijan we have selective abortion issue, which is one of the hardest challenges to solve at the moment. Culturally and of course traditionally, man-child, like boy-child, is very important for the family. So basically, some families consider that if they don't have a son, it means they are not a good family, or there will be no continuation of their surname, and therefore it's a shame for a family not to have a son. So therefore, if there's second, third, fourth girl child, a lot of families are doing selective abortions. That's why the Responsible Fatherhood campaign for us and My Father Loves Me project was also involving a lot of elements about the empowerment of fathers when it comes to the prevention of sex-selective abortion in Azerbaijan. We want fathers to play a role in that, because normally in the districts of Azerbaijan, families are not young families, especially. They are not living just 2 of them. There are fathers-in-law, mothers-in-law that living with them, and they basically interfere in all the processes. So, and actually, according to the report for the last year, Azerbaijan is currently second after China on the rate of the sex-selective abortions, and especially abortion of the girl child. So the project consisted of different parts. And one of them was PSA videos, so basically social videos which had social messages about the child care, starting from changing the diapers, finishing with feeding them, having kids with special needs, because we have a lot of cases where fathers, they leave the mothers because of some syndromes that their kids have. Let's say the syndrome of Down, which is very common, other physical disability or mental disability, that fathers keep mothers responsible and they leave them behind with the child. So these PSA videos had this objective actually to raise awareness on how, on the role model fathers, which we have of course in Azerbaijan, but they're few. And by using them in a good way, we try to raise awareness on the importance of the child hair, regardless of the sex of the child or the physical mental ability. Then we had also interview videos with different couples, which are also role models in our beliefs, that they both share the household, they both share the child care, and of course the reactions were very, let's say, not so good, because men in Azerbaijan, they consider that, oh, if you help with the household, it means you are not a good man, or your woman is controlling you, is ruling you, so that is why you help her. Then the third component was the workshop and seminars, and currently we are working on a digital campaign. It's basically the set of different illustrations. So the workshops, also during the workshops we showed all these PSA videos to the fathers. The workshops covered 100 fathers in the districts of Azerbaijan, and those fathers had the chance to interact with each other, share their fatherhood experience, and of course they tried to cover some of them that they were helping to their wives at home, and some of them said, oh, it was just once, but then when others started to talk and discuss, they feel actually proud that they were helping their wives with the household. But of course the concept of helping is something that we don't want to hear anymore. We don't want to say, yeah, we help. We want to say this is our responsibility. We want fathers to understand that they're responsible for the child as the mothers are. But in a working families, when the mother and father is working, still the tendency is that the household is on the mother. After she comes back from full-time job, she starts to cook, to clean, and in some cases we hear the stories where men, they don't come even at home. They go to have dinners or tea or beer with their friends, and they totally forget about their responsibilities at home. So these workshops covered 5 different districts, and we continue now in some other districts as a pilot activity with UNFPA, because this was a quite of success for us. We had the fathers sending different activities and photos with their kids after they left the training. It was a follow-up for them to do an activity, to shoot a video, and spend time with their children. Then we also disseminated different puzzles, and these puzzles had a message, basically the reflection of the father care. So these puzzles were distributed among participants, and they started to do the puzzles with their kids at home. So here it was on purpose, of course, that puzzles considered mainly father but not mother, in order to have the unconscious, let's say, message for the kids and also for the fathers, that they can spend the time with their kids and actually be involved in their child care. Currently, we are doing grassroots activities. There are 8 of them. It's the project that is based on the national consultation, but still Gender Hub is a new organization for Azerbaijan, and we are 1 year old for now. But due to mine and the founders' experiences, we try to bring our expertise and also our passion to the work that we do. And even though we are young, we are trying to learn and also develop ourselves. So here, as a Gender Hub, we do the campaign currently, which is called With My Father, Atamile. And this campaign involves different activities, different photos and videos that are shared on Facebook and on Instagram. So project components consist of 8 different actions: the forum theater, on responsible fatherhood campaign, comics which reflect the fatherhood experience, podcasts, art exhibition, seminars for fathers, posters and illustrations, and also the virtual game for the families. Currently, we are in the process of development of the virtual game, but comics are already ready, and fathers that are participating in our trainings, they're also using this comics already, but it has also a digital version. So digital version is out on our page.
I'm sorry, Maria. I just remind you about time.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just finalizing now. And these are some of the podcasts, some of the photos that usually fathers are not doing with their kids. So we try to show how it could be, and currently we are working on the workshops and forum theater that is going to be organized next week. And I would like to thank everyone who is here today and who are making the change to make the world a better place. And in the end, I would like to show one small video, which will take just maximum of 1 minute. Alexander?
Yes, I hear you. I think our technical service will make a video.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you very much. Very informative, Mariam. Thank you. And I keep track on time. And as I announced at the beginning, we would like to take a photo with all of forum's participants. So please turn your cameras on and smile. And we try to do it, if it's possible, of course. I see like Jens smiling. This technical service, please announce if we did it. Okay, I hope we did it.
Yeah, great photo, thanks.
So thank you. And now we have very little break, in fact, of lack of time, and we'll back in 3 minutes to the next session. And please don't be late because we have really lack of time. And I remind that next session will be in Ukrainian. So see you in 3 minutes. Thank you very much.
Ми ідемо по колу. Насильство з'явилось відколи. Не травити і не бити. Не штовхати, не ламати. Ми рахуємо зночі. щоб подолати цю змову. Не погрожувати, не знущатись, не залякувати, не насміхатись. Ми рахуємо далі не для світу і не для моралі. Не зневажати, не контролювати, не принижувати, не ображати. Відлік закінчиться і спитає суспільство, чи вийдеш ти із кола насильства.
Що для мене бути дівчиною? Носити зручні речі.
Приймати виклики. Бути тою, ким я хочу. Ти вперед.
Перемагати.
Робити те, що я хочу. Без стереотипів. Без стереотипів.
Без стереотипів.
Без стереотипів.
Зараз у вас буде невеличке завдання. Ви повинні намалювати людину цієї професії. Починаємо. Реаніматолог. Так.
І звати його Мирослав.
Я намалювала лікаря, його звати Максим. А що у них має бути?
Має бути терпіння. Щоб вони не боялись. Я намалював вірусолога.
Яке його ім'я, як звати? Яка людина повинна працювати в цій професії?
Сміливо. Пожежник, його звати Олександр. Я намалював пожежника. Його звати Геркулес.
Потрібно мати що? Бути яким?
Сильним. Ця професія була дуже небезпечна.
Військовий аеророзвідник. Яким він має бути?
Безстрашним, дуже сильно розумним. У мене дідусь був молодий, він працював пожежником. І сказав, що тільки хлопці бувають пожежниками. Я дізналася те, що жінки вони бувають не такі тендітні, вони бувають дуже сильні, мужні. Я був дуже вражений.
Я думав, що тоді будуть хлопці, а на таких серйозних роботах.
Зараз я побачила, що хірурги ще є і дівчатка. Коли виросту, стану теж хірургом. Я сьогодні це вирішила.
Що ж, вітаю, долучайтеся до нас потихеньку. Сподіваюся, більшість уже з нами.
Hello, please come back. I hope that most of us are already here. Hello. This is Kiev here speaking.
Доброго дня, пані Тетяно. Ми зараз уже
Hello, Ms. Tatiana, and we are starting now. I would like to warn everyone that there is a roundtable in the National Agency of Ukrinform. We are talking about the problem of work home issue. We have several experts who are working with women and children, and we are joining this conference. I'm happy that we are scaling up. I'm greeting you at the International Forum on Experience Exchange on Fatherhood, which is dedicated to the Family Day, which will take place tomorrow. And we are moving to our last session on the Ukrainian experience with presenting models of Tato hubs, so fathers clubs. We would like to start with, as I think, as I'm a younger member of this Tato hub community, Tato hub from Kramatorsk, would like to hear about their involved fatherhood and on the sustainability of this initiative. The speaker will be Yaroslav Boyko, who is the head of the NGO Club of Fishermen of Ukraine and the mayor of Kramatorsk and the secretary of the local council. I give word to the first speaker, to Yaroslav Boyko. Hello, everyone, dear friends and colleagues. I'm happy to greet you in Kramatorsk. This is Tato Hub Kramatorsk, Fathers Club. I think I will go with the slides now, and you will hear what's happening here, and it will be more comfortable for you. So.
Так, бачно.
Can you see? No, not yet. Yeah, it's starting. Tato Hub in Kramatorsk. This is the path to involved fatherhood. Our Fathers Club Tato Hub was started in Donetsk Oblast on the path to involved fatherhood. This is a river trip where called Ekotato can do anything, and we had the fathers from several adjacent regions, and we moved down the river Siversky Donetsk. In this trip, we were having different troubles on the water in this tour, and the fathers and children, they were finding mutual understanding, solving such difficult issues where at the homes they wouldn't be able to find solutions to. Fathers, they showed themselves from a brighter side. We had a psychologist who was working with them during dinners. We are working on them. We would like to repeat this kind of experience every year. Our team was at 100 persons, and going through this tour with more involvement from fathers and children, this is our ambition and goal. This is how Tato Club Hub looks like. We built it with the help of volunteers and fathers themselves, with peace building program from the UN. We renovated these premises, which were provided to us by the local council. It was in a very bad shape, but we involved volunteers, and tomorrow this is the launch and opening tomorrow. I don't have the most recent photos, but it looks totally different. We had the fathers volunteering work. Members of Tato Hub, they entered as volunteers, and they were helping with the renovation, and it was influenced the communication, which would allow them to be absolutely different with each other, to talk differently with their families, and it works great when the father shows to his son or to his daughter how everything is done, and when this member of Tato Hub is meeting his wife, their emotions are amazing. I received dozens of SMSs or messages from their wives who were thanking me for this initiative and us. So you can see the volunteering Saturdays with the fathers, which we have near water, near rivers, and it influences positively the communications. You can see the Tato Hub team, both fathers and their children. We chose the city water hub and cleaned it. We created this target program on involving men to involved fatherhood based on the support from the local council and authorities. This program is funded, which allows us developing the involved fatherhood in our oblast, in our region. We are cooperating with the local government who helped us to purchase modern tourist equipment and will allow us to have this river trip on the boats with fathers and their children. We have very close relationship. I don't know how it happens in other regions or countries, but we are good friends with the local government, and we have understanding. That's why I think that we are following the right path. So you see our events here, and we are inviting, and we have hundreds of participants. That this is everything. You can see here it's targeting communication between fathers and their children through workshops and such activities. This is how our Tato Hub is working in Kramatorsk. I'm giving the word now, passing the word to Igor Stashkevich from the local council, so he would add. This is the local government here, and we were very interested in Tato Hub. We got to know it last year. We provided premises to Tato Hub, and tomorrow we will launch this renovated apartment premises for the Tato Hub. I hope it will spread across the country, the initiative. Thank you, friends. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer. Thank you so much, Yaroslav. If you have questions, dear participants, please write them down in the chat. And now turning from a moderator into a speaker because I will be now presenting Tato Hub Kiev and the model for Tato Hub operation. I will be the speaker as a communication manager and the head of cooperation with local administrations. Her name is Tatiana Gozenko. Okay, now I'm trying to share my screen.
Свій скрін. Так, чи видно все нормально?
Can you see everything okay?
Сподіваюся, видно.
I hope you do.
Отже, власне, Tato Hub в Києві відкрився онлайн.
Tato Hub in Kiev was
Нещодавно.
has been launched quite recently on April 6th this year. I'm so thankful to everyone who supported the Tato Hub establishment. Our main priorities, it's the involved fatherhood and it's leisure together and partnership in the family, comprehensive development of the child and fathers. We are trying to have a supervision of all the activities in our online platform and to follow these priorities. As of now, we had 700 participants before this conference started. The majority of participants are men. They could be both fathers and future fathers because we don't have any discrimination on mothers also join us and future mothers as well who know from our promotion about this activity. In this period of implementing the project, we wrote more than 100 posts and 200 comments. We received more than 2,000 reactions and more than 25 mentions in the media. It's because Kiev media is happy to give us the initiatives. So our activities, we have provided a number of webinars which we are trying to be presented by two of our psychologists, and every time we find some new things which can be improved during preparation and implementation of this webinar. So hopefully very soon we will have the best model ever. We are trying to follow the have flash mobs and to have TikTok posts. Hopefully we will have more of that. And tomorrow's flash mob I want to mention, which we'll have with fathers. We provided, we launched such a service called Ask the Psychologist, and fathers already received their first answers. Any father or future father could anonymously send any questions to our Tato Hub, and our psychologists, in accordance to their competence, would decide on which one of them would answer that request or question. And we had a number of very interesting questions, and once we asked one of those respondents if they are ready to post it in the social media.
And pieces of advice on the part of the psychologist. Couple of times per month, our psychologists will be able to have individual sessions online with the fathers, and at the same time, they will be able to go live in our group, conducting Q&A sessions. And the topic of the day is twice per week our psychologists write a post touching upon an interesting topic which may be of interest to our fathers. What are the plans? I have very little time to tell about everything, but we're planning to, because of the pandemic shut down. We're planning the clubhouse online meetings to discuss certain ideas, and a lot of attention is drawn to the fact that what's gaining popularity now is the podcasts or other podcasts which are much more popular abroad. So we would like to have some tattoo. We would like to invite some tattoos to participate in these podcasts, and we also conducting live meetings. We're planning to start them once the COVID is more or less curbed, and we're also planning on cooperating with other Tata hubs. Partnership. I would like Tatiana Guzenko develop on that a little bit more, but I would like to say the following: that we've got some information partners working with us, and we're about to sign with them cooperation agreements. That's the public TV, Suspina Telebachina, and the football TV channel, who have already voiced their willingness to support us information-wise, and they will invite us to participate in their events, and we will invite them to participate in ours. And I would like to give the microphone to Tatiana. She'll tell you about the cooperation with the Kyiv state city administration. I will be brief and tell you about the cooperation because the Kyiv state city administration and UNDPF joint projects are several, and this is a new project. And let me tell you that what we did at the very beginning, there are three things. Number one, we have selected a good communicator, Alexander. You've just heard him. He's not just a communication specialist. He's a young father. He's got a baby daughter, and everything that he's telling you about, he's going through that. Even as we speak, and he's engaging the fathers like himself to participate in this partnership. I've seen on many occasions that all those stereotype stories, gender inequality, you don't have to convince anybody. You just show the example, the role model. And when people see that role model, people try to follow in the role model's footstep, just like what we see in our Tata Hub. And we've been supporting this idea with great pleasure. And we think that online type is just temporarily. This Father Hub and Alexander is the trendsetter in the city of Kyiv with regards to Daddy Hub, and he's pushing that idea all through the Kyiv and then even in Kyiv region, and he's been active in that. And I think there'll be a lot more supporters of this idea, even in the future. But let me draw your attention to the next. The Tata Hub story will unfold in the upcoming year. I think we will do it offline. Why? Because we've submitted a project for the city public budget from the city of Kyiv. We'll do everything possible to summon all the votes of all the fathers, and we'll get probably the budget from the city budgets through the CSO budget, so that we'll be able to continue moving ahead. And number two, the second idea, Maria Junta, deputy to the mayor of the city, Mr. Kluchko, that's the photo exhibition, and she engaged personally models who are the deputies to the mayor, who are very influential men of the city of Kyiv, and this is called Along with the Father, together with the Father. And she put the requirements. Dear colleagues, please engage into this project, and you will be honored to participate if you truly care for your child. And yes, there are men who decided to participate, and you will see those great pictures dedicated to the day of the father. One is making pancakes, the other father is exercising, boxing in the ring with his child. And all the fathers, these fathers will inspire the other fathers to pay more attention to their children. Not only, well, I'm back from home, kisses, hugs, and let's go to sleep. But truly pay attention to develop the child educationally, thus making the life of his wife better and easier. And I would like to say that our administration will do everything possible, because responsive fatherhood and parenthood, it's about equal opportunities, and it's about gender equality, and this is making what we've been thinking about reality. I'm talking about the gender equality just approach when we're talking about the equal distribution of household chores, and this is a part of our aspiration towards the European Union. That's it from my side. Thank you very much, and if you don't mind, we will adjourn to working at our round table. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, I'm shining with the words because of the words that you've said. Well, you should be proud of what you've been doing. Thank you very much, and we're disconnecting because we've got some work to do. Good. We've spoken about Kiev, and we go over to another town, which is Mirnograd, Donetsk province. Joint time with a purpose, time spent together with a purpose, and we'd like to talk to Andrei Kondratyev, head of portal Poshuk, non-governmental organization, the deputy mayor Tatiana Sitnik. Please go ahead. Good afternoon. Let me start, if you don't mind. My name is Tatiana Sitnik. I'm deputy of the mayor city of small mining town of Mirnograd. And let me tell you from the very beginning that the problem of fatherhood is not the only problem of our town, but this is the problem of other towns and cities of Ukraine. We're well aware of that. It's not only we have to make our fathers move from the sofas and have them get up and take their kids to a playground, or take them fishing, or take them cooking, for example. And I'm so much proud, and I'm so delighted that we do have a family. We have the Kondratyev's family in our town, and they were the first to actually draw attention to this problem. And they've created this Tata Hub, Father Hub, Daddy Hub. And I think that Andrei will tell more about what they've done. And on my side, I would like to assure you that our town's council will always be supportive of this effort, because this is quite important and this is timely, and we're all aware of that. And tomorrow we will be conducting quite an interesting event, and provided the weather, I hope the weather will be fine, it will be on our side, and the God will help us, will be on our side as well. So we're going to be celebrating the family day tomorrow, and we will see families competing against each other, headed by their respective fathers. And we will, and I think Andrei will tell you more about this. And thank you very much for having organized this great event. Lots of fruitful work you've done. Thank you. Good afternoon. I would like to continue telling you more in detail about the Tata Hub Mirnograd. And slide number 1 that reads time spent together, the model of the Tata Hub crafts. I've been listening attentively to the previous speakers' speeches from different countries, and I can tell you that yes, we do have our own techniques, which enables us to say that we are practically the only ones in this regard in the country, I guess. I do have a will to share some experience with you, and I think that good practices are the ones that can be scaled up to cover the entire planet of Earth. And our Tata Hub, Daddy Hub, is based on 3 whales, 3 pillars: build with father, travel with your father, and be right next to your father, be with father on standby. So, and when we're asking ourselves if father has got time to upbring the child, I think this is the wrong question. The father always has time, but we need to find the right shape, the right mode to break all the stereotypes, to engage all the fathers, to be right next to their children always, at any time. And the fathers need to see how the world is changing, not only spending joint time with their children, but also letting the children receive those skills that they can eventually learn, use when they grow up. There's global urbanization going on. We quite often forget that we do not repair stuff at home. To repair something at home, we need some skills. And our Tata Hub is built upon this. Currently, we have tools for the pottery making, and we let not only fathers, but also children get those professional skills of pottery making, which they can eventually use once they grow up. And we also have the blacksmith and the woodwork shop. We train not only girls but boys how to hit the nail the right way. Definitely, we couldn't neglect the cutting edge technologies, and probably we hope that somewhere an Elon Musk ancestor, no, predecessor is growing up somewhere in our town, and we need a special lab so that the children learn how to build up uh, the cutting edge technology stuff, and we need to be on the same page when we would like to work together. This is the logo that the parents and the children drew, and it conveys everything that we currently do at our Tata house, Tata Hub. Not only building up is what we do. It's not. And that's why we say that it would be great. It's great when children feel emotions along with their fathers, right next to their fathers, and it's clear that a child has got to be right next to his or her father, and we would like that time spent with his or her father be creative, that the child be able to create and to do something. I think that's the main idea behind fathers being attending the Tata houses and behind the idea of their spending time together. Sometimes it does happen that fathers have got to pass on their knowledge that they've accumulated to their children and or to their peers, and supported by the grant, we have our own premises. We have a place where we can get together, and we've got professionals in certain fields, psychologists, so on and so forth. And we at our own will can get together to transmit ideas that we've accumulated, we've generated, which has got to do with responsive fatherhood. Because when you stay in touch, when you talk to some parents, the younger parents or elder parents, we can earn some practical experience how to upbring children, how to perform or behave better under different circumstances. And it's clear that the best for any child, children included, are the reminiscences, adventures, some bright emotions, and there's nothing that you compare to being proud of your father, the father who can do anything. So when this is the time when when your father can break the gender stereotypes, is actually hiking trips or kayaking trips is a good thing when children go kayaking with their fathers or go hiking in the mountains. This is when the father is responsible and actually is embracing those functions that are so much typical of the mother. We can be so much proud of the father because he can cook. We can be proud of our father because he's right next to us at any given moment. So in the picture, you see there are a few photos in in the presentation, but we're willing to participate, to cooperate with you. Last year, we invited the Belarusians, people from Republic of Belarus, to participate in our practical exercises, and now it's a great honor of ours to invite everyone who is currently participating in this today's event to participate, to work with us, to cooperate with us. Thank you very much. If you've got more questions, feel free to ask. I will gladly answer those questions.
Thank you, Mr. Andriy. I haven't seen you for a while. I'm happy to see you. Yes, I'm happy to see you too. You're welcome. Okay. We are moving on to our next speech. Responsible fatherhood. It's developing, and it's Vinnytsia Tato Hub. Natalia Sergenko will be presenting. I'm happy to greet everyone, and I'm going to tell you how we are making the fatherhood more prestigious, more popular, and more happy. Our Tato Hub is 6 months old, and when we started, we were thinking about the possibility to create opportunities for ordinary fathers, for an average father to instead of choosing leisure and or having time with his friends, so he would visit Tato Hub. We were thinking, okay, what can we have so that these fathers, these men would come and visit. And our colleagues were talking about the whales, and we have our own 3 whales. So we came up with an idea that what men would be interested in. So our 3 whales are the following: for you, with you, and about you. These are the themes that would be most interesting for a man. What it means. So we start with the first whale. For you, it targets educational component or enlightenment component. Here we are trying to give information that would be interesting for a man. It could be covering all kinds of things, child psychology or partner relationship. We are not limiting ourselves in the topics, because we are trying to cover those themes that come from the fathers themselves. And we quite often invite experts. Of course, we have our own psychologists who are giving seminars and educational courses, but we also invite guest experts, like the latest experts were doctors who were telling about the health of a man and the health of a son. And at the next meeting, we were talking about healthy partner, healthy daughter. We had offline meetings with lots of questions from the men, which were quite transparent, quite sincere, and we had a good response to these events. And men who are experts in certain fields, they also came up with the initiative to speak at our Tato Hub events. We also have very good communication in the social media, and we are trying to engage our fathers, and in fact all fathers that we have in our club, they come through social media. About you, what we mean here, it's the analysis of the interaction and communication between fathers and children. Because at the events where we have joint activities, we see that there are different levels of strategies for communication strategies, which might not always be quite fruitful and successful. It's not enough just to speak, because we don't want to criticize fathers to say that you've done something wrong, and our psychologists don't do that. No. We are supporting positive practices from our fathers, and we have very direct communication between the fathers after our after our classes. They share their personal experience. We are more targeting offline meetings, even during the quarantine. With even 10 to 15 fathers, we were looking for very spacious premises to have our meetings offline. But if it wasn't possible, then we would go online. But offline, that's our main core activity, main means of communication. Also, we are giving response to questions, because after each meeting we would have certain questions which men wouldn't have time to discuss, and then we plan another meeting on the same topic. Or if this question is often heard, then our psychologists either give live webinars, or they would write a post in the social media answering the question which is of importance for many of our fathers. And about with you. Here we deal with activities on the interactions with the children. Those could be master classes or sports clubs or competitions. flash mobs, where father has an ability to communicate with the child and where the psychologists would be able to give their feedback. Such meetings are very popular and bring good response. We also have questions. We are often asked if mothers could join us for these meetings. So this component is often, every event has a small activity for women as well. We have less women at these activities. Not every mother would come, but we do understand that over weekends the family wants to be in full together at their home, but if it's another day, then when the fathers are doing something with their children, at having some activity with their children, then we have this online job possibility where women can have a working activity at the same time. So we are thinking about the entire family here. And I'm giving you an example of one event. It was a football class, and we are trying to reach a number of goals. We want to break the stereotypes because football players were not only boys but also girls, and they were very brave and happy. And after finishing, I want to turn off the presentation. After finishing the event, some of the fathers, they signed their daughters up into this football school. Also, it's about the supporting role of the father, because often such activities might not be very happy and there might be some frustration, and we are helping fathers to demonstrate the supportive role of the father. It's also about promotion of the healthy approach, healthy way of life, and communication to psychologists who help to talk through some important aspects of the interaction with children. I also want to mention that we have lots of partners involved, except for the local council. We have experts and businesses, and we could give certificates and free of charge premises. And what makes Tato Hub popular among this community, it's that fathers are ready to become ambassadors of the Tato Hub, because they're ready to do things for Tato Hub. And it's important for us because by implementing our mission and making it more popular with the community, and it promotes the conscious fatherhood. Thank you. Thank you, Pani Natalia. If you have any questions, please write them in the chat, and we will be looking for answers there. Now we are moving to the south, Odessa, Tato Hub, a gym to develop fathers' skills. And I would like to present Andrei Kostyuk, who is a psychologist of the Tato Hub, and he is working with the local policy department. I'm happy to greet everyone. Listening to the previous speakers, I'm so happy to know that our activities and interests are very alike, and we are moving hand in hand in this regard. I think I will focus on our own specialties that we were implementing in our Tato Hub. You see the key thing, the key word and position where which we are using, it's the collaboration word. I love this word, but besides the the sound of this word. I love the meaning of this word because it means the combination of joint efforts. I hope you can see my presentation. It's just that it's not full screen. Okay, here you go. When we started with the Tato Hub project, we tried to combine to the maximum the efforts and the interests from the city council, from the business, from public organizations, and from the business platforms. It's very specific about our city that we have a say that, okay, we're from Odessa, we will be able to find an agreement and to an agreement with our partners. We received premises from our city council, and Tato Hub finally received its territory. But what's important is that we were having many similar events, activities together with the media. We were launching live events. We were creating this informational noise, so to say, so to spread the word on Tato Hub as much as possible. And we continued acting in this regard. Another interesting activity, which I would like to mention, it's the photo exhibition which we had. And it was about non-male professions. It was really hard to find non-male professions, like a man who would do enlarged lashes, or who would be doing makeup, or a chef. Maybe that's more often. And during this exhibition, we had a lot of feedback and communication when people were being surprised that, wow, that's possible. And we saw how the gender stereotypes are being broken in front of our eyes, and it was very useful to have such a photo exhibition. Besides that exhibition, we had roundtable events which would provide major participation from many structures, including the University of the City Council and Vera Nadezhda Lyubov organization, who are providing many projects which are in line with the City Council and Region Council programs. A roundtable format allows to raise very urgent issues on the regional level and to continue. So one of the most important things I would like to mention, since I'm head of the psychological service of the police department of the police, I'm dealing often and on a deep level with the issue of fathers and the children. Policemen timetable is not regular. It's very they could have night shifts and night random rides, so parents would, especially fathers, would ask us to work with their children, especially with the adolescents, and we were targeting this audience, and we have 4,000 employees, 4,000 men in police who are fathers.
These are all potential fathers who have potential problems with their children that they face time and again, and we help them to go through that. And we have conducted online addressing. We told them how to bring the children the right way, what to do with children. You know, we also conducted with heads of the department certain events to raise the awareness, and we've spoken a lot on different topics. We've also engaged our policemen to conduct master classes, trainings, workshops, and I'll tell you about this a little bit more. And definitely this police university these are the future police force agents, the young ones. They're just attending classes, but they will become fathers as well. And we work with the present, with the current police officers, and we're trying to also work with our young generation, the ones who are still growing up, and we're thinking about the future in order to break those gender stereotypes, in order to, even as we speak in their younger years, when they're attending classes, we want to shape in their consciousness the right attitude that of equality, that of tolerance, and that of correct interaction with the child, and the responsible fatherhood, which is very good because when the cadets attended the classes, you can see in their faces, they would go like, is this really, can we actually do this? You see the changes, you see the stereotypes being broken by the way they look, by the way the people look and what they show their faces. I will be repeating what our colleagues from other regions have already spoken about. We conduct a lot of training master classes, workshops, trainings, and we're trying to always conduct joint meetings with fathers and inviting children. Sometimes when we need to tell the fathers how they've got to bring their children, how to place the right stress on how we talk about details. There are two psychologists, so we're trying to split that initiative. When one psychologist is dealing with the children, the other is dealing with the fathers, and there are different types of drawing techniques, games. We try to play games, entertain the children. But since we're psychologists, we do it not for fun. When we draw, then we can tell their children, their fathers, some feedback, telling them about their children. And in addition to the training workshops, we also we also develop physical fitness. We want children to spend more time with their parents, not only fathers, not only learning, but also exercising. On this slide, you see one of our workshops, yoga workshop, you may call it. You see children along with their fathers would attend these exercises. We're also planning on dance therapy classes. I will tell you about it sometimes later when show you some pictures as well. And the most interesting master class that we've had, this is when we got kick-started. This is cuisine master class, culinary master class on the New Year's and Christmas Eve. And their children and their parents would bake cookies, Christmas cookies, and it was a lot of fun. And by the ways, by the pictures you see, on the pictures you can see the happy faces, and the child is doing something with his father and enjoying. Both of them are enjoying the process, and it's so much important. I, as a psychologist, in addition to communication, emotional contact is very much important. When the father does something with the child, the children get that emotional link, that bond that they so much need. And the most recent is the online format. Because of the pandemics, we tried to launch a YouTube channel, and I will send you the link. Please subscribe. We conduct cuisine classes, teaching fathers and children cook something tasty together. There was even a contest to make your mother breakfast. They would make some other stuff like bunches of flowers, the right way, just like you see the mistletoe stuff. But since my time is almost over, I will be wrapping up my presentation, my speech. And let me tell you that in Odessa, the word that I started with, the word is collaboration, ability to be on the same page, to negotiate. We engaged as many participants as we could, the Oblast Council, Provincial Council, the City Council, to the best possible, to the most efficient convey this service to the city, so the city owns that. It's not just a project that we launched and it lasted for some time. We want it to be permanent. Thank you very much. If you've got more questions, please write to me. Please ask those questions. It's been a great pleasure talking to you, participating in this project, and it's been a great pleasure staying with us, talking to you. Thank you very much, Andrew. Thank you very much. And I agree with the fact that the time that you spent with your child. Oh, sorry, I forgot to switch off the translation. I see myself being translated. I didn't know what's been going on. The time you spent with your child is the best time that you can have, no matter what your life is. Now, over from the south, we travel in a jet airplane to the east, to Troitsk. We'll talk about sport, and we'll talk about the sport entertainment Father Hub. We'll talk to Kalina press representative. Actually, she's the head, Marina Zhivutkova. Marino, are you here? We don't hear you, Marino. We see your presentation, but we don't hear you. Good afternoon. We hear and we see you. Please. Greetings from the Lugansk Oblast. Our Tato Hub is more sport and plus entertainment type of hub. We work alone. We've been working closely with the Troitsk community, and everything that's happening in our Tata Hub happens because of the cooperation with the local, between us and local authorities. They've been supportive of us. And I would like to show you, this is our working group, and which consists of the mayor of Troitsk, and he dedicates his time to this work, and he inspires the other parents to join us, to be engaged, and volunteers, lots of sportsmen and women, and former anti-terrorist operation combatants and the current combatants participate. Both the police force and the emergency service personnel also participate in the work of our organization. And women and wives also participate in all the meetings that we have been conducting. We invite, and we're glad to have, we'd like to invite everyone. We invite everyone. The first thing that we did on our hub was the repairment of gyms. That is the cellar of one of Detroit's type of high school. We have selected it and we decided to refurbish it and to organize a gym so that the kids can, along with their fathers, exercise. And when we were procuring the machines, the fitness machines, we were thinking about the machines that would allow both children, parents, fathers and mothers exercise together, so they can stay together and not be split into different rooms and exercising different muscles. And you see that we didn't have any subcontractor to do the job at the expenses of the project. We procured all the refurbishing material, and those were the parents, the fathers, and the children who did all the refurbishing, which made them even closer. And while we were refurbishing the gym, we also were thinking about, entertaining people, and we set up a special picture taken club for the children and for their fathers. And in the picture, you see the father. This is his first visit to the club. Actually, this is the first time he's holding the camera in his hands. And there's a picture of a father being so much proud that his daughter has made her first picture using special mirror type camera, and he was so much proud for his daughter. And children attending the picture club not only learn to take pictures, but they also learn how to use special software. They've been guided by special professional, and they also acted as a model. So they've been on both sides of the camera lens. And the summary, the outcome was a picture exhibition featuring a picture of each and every child, featuring their father either at work or practicing his favorite hobby. And it was in the main square. The pictures were placed for display, and which led to the fact that more fathers, more people started attending the events at the Tato Hub. Since it's been during the coronavirus times, not sticking to all the norms, sanitary norms. We tried not to overcrowd the premises with people, so all those events were conducted either outdoors or by the river. And we were repairing the gym, and we would gather children at the studio, and we would play table games. And these games was dedicated to the safety, children, parent safety. Using different cards, children would learn what types of threats out there when child is going to school or was returning back home. And we would broadcast this into our Facebook web group, which is called Troitsky Tata Hub, the Club of Proactive Parents. And in addition to the fact that in that studio only few children managed to, because of the coronavirus restrictions, managed to participate, we organized the online event with lots of discussions, and those discussions were of good for the children and for the parents. Because when there was a card drawn, what's got to be done if a stranger asks for your phone? Should you give the stranger the phone, or should you call, or should you take a ride with the stranger if the stranger invites you to to get into his or her car? It was all done with their parents present, and the children gave you more right answers than the parents did. I think this type of games are of good, and we should have more of them. And we invited people to participate in game 1, game 2, saw the increase in the participants, and now we have a queue of people queuing to play this game. And they're asking us when the next game is going to be organized. And if it's not a lecture boring one, but it's a game, it's much better digested. This is a field trip to a fire station and to the police precinct, and the kids could actually get behind the wheel of a fire truck, could actually put on the firefighter gear like the boots, the gloves, and or the bulletproof vest of a policeman, and they could actually see the weapons the police force uses. They can actually, the policemen took our participants to their special room of psychological de-stressing, and they show that in addition to the fact that policemen serve and protect, they also have special games to play, and the children took a look at those games. And I hope that several kids, actually boys and girls, actually decided to pursue the career of firefighters and the police officers once they grow up. At least this is what they say while they were on those field trips. And there was also a contest of cooking pizza with the fathers. Because of the COVID restrictions, only few people were invited, had been invited. And again, it was a lot of fun, and a true chef conducted that meeting. And we also got some feedback from the parents later on of children inventing new recipes. And now this is a new tradition that has been created, that every Saturday or Sunday, children and parents cook pizza and post the pictures of the pizza on the Facebook. We're so much happy that they liked it a lot. And they let me remind you of the time restraints. Good, a little bit more time, if you may. And soccer, football, parents versus children. And it was the first time that we conducted joint training sessions, judo, and everybody liked it. It's so much, and it's popular now. And we also have that studio coffee with the father. We invite the participants, and they can tell you live, along with their children, about their achievements, about their goals gained. And this is and thus they engage more people to come to our hub. This is very good. And so this is before and after the gym, before and after. And keep in mind that we haven't brought the exercising machine yet. Thank you very much. Sorry for exceeding the time limit. This is my contact information. Please write to me, call me, answer any questions. I am willing to answer any of those, and I hope that I will have some feedback from you. Thank you very much, the organizers, for having invited me to this great and very good event of today.
It was a very substantial presentation, and again, we will go back to the center. It's Zaporizhia city, and the project coordinator of Posmishka UAE project, Anna Chernova. She will tell us what it means to be a father every day, and she will speak about a number of events on the conscious fatherhood. Can you hear me? Yes, we can hear you perfectly well. I'd like to start with the challenges that we had when we were starting implementation of our Tato Hub, and we faced it. But I would like to start with idea that we started implementation of the Conscious Fatherhood program in 2020 when we had the situation with the pandemic, and we heard that the program of Conscious Fatherhood would be most timeful as of now, because the level of gender-based violence and home violence was growing, and children and fathers were left jobless, unemployed, and children were taught online, and they were all in closed, confined spaces. So as the answer for this crisis, the implementation of the Tato schools was our response, and we faced the fact that Ukraine wasn't ready to move online, to be digital, and with education and work, and we had only one resource. It was the internet, through which we were able to communicate with the fathers, with men. And our main challenge was the fact that Ukraine doesn't have quite good coverage, and this coverage doesn't exist at all, and men are not as active users of social networks as women, and our main challenge was finding the right target audience. Another challenge was how we could organize the online work of the Tato Hub and the presence of fathers in this school, because not every family has enough gadgets with which they could communicate online. And if there is at least one school child, then at least one gadget, then it's up to the school child to use. And not quite often there is a space where one could feel safe, confidential, and to be alone and safe, which also was not enabling fathers to communicate, and they would go outside and talk to us from outside. But we managed to overcome those challenges, and I would like to show you a small short video, and you will see what outcomes we have with Tato school, so that we will be able to hold the high quality video and sound, and the men which are participating in the father school, so that they feel they are present.
Маленький тизер, як буде виглядати наша презентація, як буде виглядати саме заняття, психолог.
Доброго дня.
Вже готовий? Артем, скажи, будь ласка, яка тема сьогоднішнього модуля?
Сьогодні ми говоримо про стрес та як допомогти дитині. Щоб дуже спростити це явище від англійської стрес – це напруга.
Ось так в студії ми
This
проводимо.
is how we are giving Tato School, holding Tato School at the studio, and we are trying to keep with the offline training format and to have it online. And we have very positive stories, success stories. I'd like to tell you one of those stories of a man whose name is Yakiv, who visited our tattoo school and decided to change his life radically. He left his job, which didn't let him have enough time with his child and his wife, and it was breaking them apart, and he redistributed their household activities, and he says, like he says himself, my family now is in line with the gender equality. He has a business of his own, and the son is helping him, and they have a joint hobby. It's a YouTube channel, and they have one day where the child has full time with his father. Of course, such cases are very inspiring, and it helps us change in the world through such stories. Another thing which we are doing, it's a Tata quiz. It's an online quiz in Zoom with a professional guide. You can see him making selfie there. We have it. We're streaming it from a professional studio. Fathers and children are in one team, and these teams, they compete with each other. And although it's very much fun, it's a lot of fun. We are also implementing a lot of educational elements on breaking stereotypes and gender promotion, equality promotion, and we are helping fathers to go through those courses, and fathers receive gifts in the end of such programs. Some of our activities, we are cooperating with bloggers and with famous with celebrities. We are having quests on Facebook where dads can share their stories and photos on what it's like to be a father every day, and what it means to guess certain words. And you can see one of the winners on this photo. We shared his story, and it was very resonant. We had a lot of I'm giving you a quote from this participant. You can see it on the slide. My wife and I immediately agreed that there was no female-male work at home. Everyone does what he does best, and we also take care of the child together. Such examples, they help to change attitude towards upbringing children and the household duties redistribution. Another activity which we are doing, we are filming social video promotion videos, which we call Turbo Tato. And average dads from Zaporizhia and Oblast are telling, from the region, are telling what it's like to be a father on a daily basis. I'm suggesting you to have a look at a story from multi-child dad. If we can't watch this video, then we won't.
Что для меня супер папа? У меня был супер папа.
I had a super dad, as I think, and I would like to be the best dad. For example, I'm trying to travel a lot with my family so that my children could see that super dad, it's not only the one who is providing for his family, but also comes to dinner at night. I'm spending with them 95% of all the time that I have free. I guess every time that children are asking me some of their special questions, it's always a very memorable event for me. I feel that it's not easy, that I'm the person they can communicate with. I'm happy that they see me as their best friend. as well. Thank you very much for the inspiring day. And there are many things we couldn't share so far. And I think that next year, we will be able to show you more success stories and more of our work. And it was a very inspiring day. And thank you so much. Watching this video, I felt emotional. I hope I will be a father like that one. So in fact, we finished with all the presentations. I'm telling you that you will receive them on the email. You will also find questionnaire, feedback questionnaire link. We would like to hear from you what you liked, what you didn't like, and also your impressions from these 3 hours. Hopefully we will give you answers to all of your questions, and I'm giving the word now to the project coordinator EU4Gender Equality, Pani Valeria Hajduk, and I'm saying goodbye to all of you. We also have Jaime here with us, but anyway, I would like to thank everybody for very contentful, very interesting presentations. Some of them were very insightful, and I'm sure that for other countries it was interesting to hear that. Jaime, would you like to, for the official closure?
Well, thank you very much, Valeria. I have found the interventions extremely interesting, and I do believe that something is very clear, and is the fact that we are really building a very important wave in terms of getting men to be engaged in gender equality. We are making some very interesting and very important inroads into breaking away from gender stereotypes and in promoting a far more positive sense of masculinity. And I think that this is extremely important. It's a seed that we are planting that I'm sure will have a very significant impact in the coming years in Ukrainian society, but also elsewhere, wherever this approach is being tested, because indeed Ukraine is not alone in this move. Many other countries are doing it, as we've been able to see. And it's important that we just keep on building on that. So congratulations to everyone for that outstanding work that you are doing. And I very much look forward to keep on engaged in your initiatives and knowing more about them. And as UNFPA, we will be there working alongside with you in terms of making sure that we have a more egalitarian, fairer society in the future for Ukraine. One where everyone can fulfill their full potential, both men and women. Thank you very much. Congratulations, and wishing you all a great weekend. Thank you.
Дякую, Хайме. Завтра я бажаю у нас
Thank you, Jaime. So tomorrow we will continue celebrating the International Family Day. In Ukraine, we will have a music flash mob where fathers and children will participate. And I'm wishing all of us good weather and good night today. Goodbye. Thank you and goodbye.